We begin with the haze situation in Sarawak, where air quality has improved significantly as of 5 p.m. today, with all divisions recording an API reading below 100, indicating moderate air quality. Serian still recorded the highest reading at 94, followed by Samarahan at 86, Kuching at 84 and Sri Amand at 82. Elsewhere statewide, Sarawak recorded an API reading of 77, followed by Sibu at 74, Bintulu at 71, Miri at 64, Samalaju at 63, Muka at 60. The Industrial Training Institute Miri at 59, while Limbang and Kapit each recorded an API reading of 55. Meanwhile, nationwide, only one area recorded an unhealthy API reading, and that is Johan Setia in Selangor at 149. This marks a stark contrast with last week's readings, which saw multiple areas recording unhealthy levels, with schools in the Serian district having to shut down after the area recorded exceeding 200. Sarawak is strengthening its data protection capabilities by developing its own sovereign AI infrastructure as part of efforts to build the state's technological capabilities. Premier Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng says the initiative will also pave the way for Sarawak to have its own satellite by 2030, further reducing its reliance on external infrastructure.
That is one of the reasons why we must manage our own cloud, our own satellite. This one is all has to be done through satellite. Jadi beban kita pakai satellite orang lah. Kalau orang ada secret keyword, dia pun boleh access. But for our long-term interest, we must have our own satellite there.
These infrastructure will be developed and managed by Sarawak Information Systems Sendirian Berhad Science as one of the state's most trusted network that enables government agencies to have access to relevant data seamlessly and securely. At the same time, the platform will be able to differentiate public accessible data and those that are protected for strategic purposes. Public data will consist of information related to startup establishment, government service, while protected data are those that are classified under state security, sovereignty, and strategic data.
The United Nations Development Programme UNDP has expressed its readiness to provide long-term support for Sarawak, especially in energy transition, climate action and sustainable development. Edward Verkic, UNDP's rep for Malaysia, Singapore and Brunei, says it is ready to serve as a trusted development partner in helping Sarawak translate its development aspirations into practical and scalable solutions.
After paying a courtesy call to the Premier, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng, Edward says among key areas would be to catalyse an inclusive and sustainable energy transition, strengthening resilience towards climate change, and championing the green economy agenda. UNDP has also expressed its commitment towards supporting Sarawak in exploring innovative solutions to achieve its goals, including knowledge exchange, experts, and networks domestically and internationally. The courtesy visit is part of UNDP's ongoing engagement with key stakeholders in Sarawak, while also reflecting the agency's commitment to building long-term partnerships that support locally driven development priorities.
Sarawak records yet another milestone with the completion of Sejingkat Bridge, the 12th of such infrastructure to be completed under the state's road network transformation plan. Valued at over 365 million ringgit, Deputy Premier Dr. Amar Douglas Ugamba says the 4-lane dual carriageway bridge would ease peak hour congestion and provide a smoother alternative route between Kuching and Kota Samarahan. Set to open for the public on October 1st, the bridge will boost economic activities between the two areas.
This bridge is a very, very big game changer for Kuching. Dulu masyarakat dari Kota Semerahan kalau nak pergi ke Demak Laut to this side, Putrajaya or this industrial area, they have to go through the city centre. And then it will cause a very serious jam. But with the completion of this, a big chunk of the traffic either from Serian or from Kota Semerahan will be passing through this if they want to come to this side of the river. Jadi it will be a big game changer for Kuching.
Uga adds that the 1.28-kilometer bridge spanning the Sarawak River forms part of the Sarawak Coastal Road Network project, which is fully funded by the state government under PCDS 2030. He says the new bridge is expected to shorten travel times and improve connectivity for local communities, while acting as a catalyst for socio-economic development by unlocking commercial, agricultural, and aquaculture potential along the corridor.
To global affairs, the 60-day deadline pushed by US President Donald Trump has completely lost its relevance after Iran claims US's multiple violations of a memorandum that was reached on June 17th. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Baqi says the MOU provided no provision referring to a 60-day deadline and that Iran will never formulate any policies under pressure, ultimatums or time limits. Instead, the MOU envisaged a 60-day period for negotiations on two key issues, the lifting of sanctions and the nuclear issue, which could have been extended if no agreement was reached.
Following violations by the US, which Baqi describes as flagrant, no dialogues were held just a few weeks after the signing of the MOU. Hence, the discussions of the 60-day deadline, he adds, was completely nullified. Meanwhile, negotiations with Oman continues, though an agreement has been reached. But due to constant security threats by the US and Israel, Baqi says compilation of the maritime traffic route map with Oman has been stalled tremendously. On another note, the spokesman highlighted significant oil spills in the waters of Gulf nations due to increased military operations by the US.
این خسارت‌هایی که به محیط زیست خلیج فارس و دریای عمان وارد شده محدود به این دوره 6 ماه یا 1 ساله نبوده. در این 5 دهه منطقه ما به صورت تقریباً دائمی مواجه بوده با حضور نظامی آمریکا و متحدینش در منطقه.
He called for the US to be held accountable, estimating the damage at trillions of dollars. Last week, Iran called for compensation after an oil slick in the Strait of Hormuz reached the island of Qashm, affecting beaches and an environmentally sensitive mangrove forest. At the time, Baqi cited preliminary evidence identifying a foreign bulk carrier as the source of the spill, which Iranian officials later said had been completely cleaned up. Earlier, Omani state media reported that an oil slick from a tanker that ran aground off Oman had reached the coastline. An AFP investigation previously found that the vessel had been stranded for weeks near Oman's Al-Qibliyah island after it was damaged by explosions.
Meanwhile, Israel's continuing military operations have left Palestinians facing famine, displacement, and a constant threat of violence. Earlier today, attacks forced hundreds of people to flee their homes. Among the victims was 14-year-old Suhail Shalouf, who was killed amid gunfire in the Al-Tini area of Khan Yunis, southern Gaza.
Suhail's mother, Miriam Shalouf, broke down after learning of her son's death. His death reflects the harsh reality faced by many Gazans who have lived through years of conflict, displacement, and deprivation. Yet for families like Suhail's, such loss can never be normal.
تحملنا كل شيء تحملنا الجوع، تحملنا المجاعة، تحملنا التهجير بالرفع، قاعدين هلا في خيام بنقول يا رب كمان كتبوا اولادنا ليش؟ حطوا لنا خط اصفر، هذا مش خط اصفر، هذا خط موت، خط اصفر وبيجينا الطخ، عنا لعنا بوصل ايامنا. ليش احنا ذنبنا ليش هيك؟ يرحمونا قلبك بقول هدنه، وين الهدنه؟ وين وقفة اطلاق النار؟ وين كل يوم دمار؟ بننام على صوت الطخ، بنصحى على صوت الطخ، كل يوم الاطلاق عنا.
Meanwhile, Israeli forces raided the West Bank town of Qabatia and deployed across several neighborhoods. They arrested a number of Palestinians, according to a report by Anadolu Agency, without giving an exact figure. Separately, Israeli forces demolished a two-story home in the village of Qalandia, northwest of the occupied East Jerusalem, on claims of being built without a permit. The demolition displaced 15 people from two Palestinian families.
People have been displaced after 13,000 people have been displaced after a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck eastern Indonesia, killing 54 people and injuring more than 100. Thousands of survivors spent a third night outside their homes on Monday, sheltering at schools, police stations, and government offices as strong aftershocks continue to shake Flores Island.
Indonesia's National Disaster Agency BNPB says the number of people unable to return home had risen to 12,800, spread across several towns on Flores. More than 1,600 aftershocks have been recorded since Saturday's quake, prompting residents to remain outdoors amid fears that damaged buildings could collapse. In Ambe, the town closest to the epicenter, residents have built makeshift shelters using tarpaulins and poles. Many homes have been severely damaged or destroyed, leaving families with little choice but to sleep outside. The disaster has also revived painful memories of the 1992 Flores earthquake, which triggered a tsunami and killed about 2,500 people. Meanwhile, the Indonesian Air Force says it was transporting 13 tons of emergency supplies aboard two Hercules aircraft and a Boeing aircraft. Helicopters are also being deployed to deliver aid to isolated communities. The supplies include food, clothing, clean water, and emergency medical equipment. At the same time, military personnel have been sent to key distribution hubs to assist with delivering aid to survivors. Rescue teams, meanwhile, continue to search affected areas by land and air. At least 914 houses have suffered severe damage, while hundreds more were damaged to a lesser extent. Dozens of public buildings, including schools, health facilities, and government offices, have also been affected.
Indonesia is set to export 1,000 tons of premium rice to Malaysia in stages, with Sarawak being among the key destinations. The first shipment will also serve as a promotional initiative to introduce Indonesian rice products to consumers in Malaysia. The move marks the reopening of Indonesia's rice export channels after the country previously focused on strengthening domestic supply and food security.
The first shipment is part of an export agreement worth about 3.4 trillion rupiah or nearly 777 million ringgit with premium rice, priced at 3 ringgit and 9 cents per kilogram. Sarawak is estimated to require about 200,000 tons of rice annually, while Malaysia's overall annual demand stands between 1.5 and 1.7 million tons. Indonesian Agriculture Minister Amran Sulaiman says the resumption of rice exports to Malaysia reflects the country's improved production and stock levels. In 2025, Indonesia recorded a rice surplus of about 4 million tons, with production this year expected to rise further, resulting in a projected surplus of around 8 million tons.
Bahwasanya produksi kita tahun ini sesuai estimasi yang diestimasi sampai dengan Oktober itu lebih tinggi produksi kita tahun ini daripada tahun lalu. Oleh karena itu, dulu kita pernah ekspor ke Palestina, ke Mesir. Nah, sekarang kita ekspor ke Malaysia.
The shipments are said to be transported via land through Entikong in West Kalimantan, one of the main entry points into Sarawak. The cooperation, he adds, is expected not only to strengthen trade ties, but also to further deepen bilateral relations between the two countries.
Those are the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Handy Gui. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.